Brothers and sisters, we are fortunate to welcome Zain Sikafi today, who will be delivering the main TED Talk on positivity and mental health. Please welcome with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Zain is a GP and a digital health entrepreneur, currently focusing on transforming mental health with him and his work mentioned on BBC World, The Economist and Huffington Post.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Good. So, no surprise, we all have mental health, just like we all have physical health. And I've been asked at various mosques, of course, Mahfil Ali is the first, to talk about my experiences in the context of what we're doing and the huge challenge that we're facing. It's going to be really difficult to do this in 5 minutes. I'm going to try my best. I'm not sure it's been done before. Inshallah, Nazar Uncle can help me with some of the principles as well. I'm going to give you some of the background. Mental health is a massive problem. The Prime Minister's report came out last year. It's the single cause of, largest cause of ill health in the whole of the UK. We're talking about 50% of under 65, so almost half this audience will have encountered mental health problems or know someone that's had mental health problems. 50% of all people wanting a referral in the NHS for therapy or counselling are waiting longer than 3 months. In many parts of England, they're actually waiting 6 months. As a result, 300,000 people last year lost their jobs. The cost to the economy has been close to 99 billion. The reason for that, and what we found with our clients and the people that we speak to, is because people don't want anyone to know. There is a stigma. People have a fear of going to their GP because they're worried, what if their family finds out? What if their friends find out? What if their employer finds out? That is a massive issue, and it's a cultural issue. Irrespective of being Muslim, Christian, Jewish, atheist, it's a British cultural issue that we've all adopted and we've all engaged with, where we don't want anyone to know. So what's the solution to all of this? Well, the solution, contrary to what a lot of people think, isn't by telling people who are thinking negatively, so someone who's thinking, oh God, I feel so low, I'm so anxious, I'm so depressed. The solution isn't stop feeling anxious, stop feeling depressed. The removal of negative thoughts or the stopping of negative thoughts doesn't make you feel more positive. It doesn't treat the cause, because this is a wiring of the brain. Believe it or not, our thoughts, our feelings actually has a physical effect on our bodies. It has a physical effect on our brains. It is hardwired. So unless you introduce positive thinking in terms of remedying those negative thoughts, nothing will change. And that treatment is called cognitive behavioral therapy. This looks at the presence of negative emotions. It's looking at building strategies to replace those emotions and building more positive ones. They usually last about 30 to 50 minutes. And it takes time. It takes work. It takes effort. Just like if you were to injure your knee or injure your shoulder, you would see a physiotherapist. And they'll help your shoulder and knee get better. Our mental health requires the same effort. We're not magically going to stop feeling awful. We're not magically going to feel low. So I'm going to work through an example. So imagine, like many of us, you've come back from home, both you and your wife at the same time. Your kids are running around. You're wanting that time to pray or time to cook. You tell them to be quiet. They don't be quiet. You shout at them. You end up in a big argument. You get angry. Your wife gets angry at you. You get angry at her, other way around, whatever. And then the feelings start again. God, why did I do that? I'm feeling so awful. You go to your kids. You shout at them again. You argue again, and that's reinforced. And that leads to the physical effects afterwards. The feeling of shame. The feeling of low. Why did I do that? And this cycle perpetuates itself. With something that's called cognitive restructuring, which is changing those processes and breaking up those links to get them going through the right way, you're able to build in strategies in which you can deal with it. And I'm going to take you through briefly how to do that. So step one is identifying those unhelpful thoughts. And I'll show you an example. This is best done by a thought diary. Capturing the thought, where it happened. So I was shouting at my kids. I felt awful. Why were they running around? This might be incredibly important and difficult to do. So what you do is you use the acronym STOP. Stop what you're doing. Take that time to breathe. Look at the overview of the questions that you're writing to yourself. Why am I feeling that way? And put that in perspective. So here's the example. This is an example of a thought diary. The situation, I was angry at my kids. The thought that you're thinking, which is the wrong thought. No one listens to me. No one loves me. And the emotion, I'm angry. I feel really guilty about this. Why did it happen? And then you put down, okay, how much do you actually believe in that? How much do you actually believe that no one loves you and no one listens to you? And then you put down, okay, what is the percentage of the intensity of that? How much is that affecting how much I'm feeling? So the anger, 90%. That rage, when your kids aren't listening, just go upstairs. Some people might hit them. Some people might shout them. You might take away their toys, sit them on naughty step. God knows. And the next step is step 2. Okay, gather the evidence. This is part of the training, the pros and the cons. The evidence for the thought. And the thought here is, no one listens to me. For example, no one loves me. Okay, does no one listen to me all the time? Does no one love me? Let's take no one loves me. Okay, you think of your wife. My wife doesn't love me. What is the evidence? What is the hard fact? This is like a court case. People should be treating this like a court case, not opinion. Has something actually happened? Like, God forbid, an affair or something like that? No. I mean, these are little things often people are talking about, but they perpetuate. And equally on the other side, the evidence against. The best way to do it is, what would a friend of mine do? What would a family member do? How many times has this actually happened? How many times has someone actually not loved me? Or, for example, my kids have not listened to me and I haven't reacted this way. It's been absolutely fine. We've all chilled out. It's been okay. And that's where you'd fill it in the next part. You'd fill in evidence for and the evidence against. Okay, evidence for, the children misbehaving. Evidence against, well, the kids were sad when I shouted and they apologized straight away. And this is a simple example, by the way. I'm not belittling the situation, but I'm trying to make it really simple for the 5 minutes we have. And step 3 is the balancing. Is the balancing of taking the initial thought that happened and then action. So you take that first sentence of no one loves me or no one cares for me, and you try and add an and or a but. And that is the best way to try and build this training program. And then you rate your beliefs in this. You read through that several times, training your brain what you're going through, and you try to replace it with the new balanced thought. And the key part is measure the impact that has on you. So, for example, I know that the font is a bit low, so if we're taking it from the beginning where we started, the thought, no one listens to me, that made me feel angry, that made me feel regretful. The evidence for, well, the children were misbehaving, that's why they don't love me. The evidence against, well, they were really sad when I shouted at them, they started crying. They apologized straight away. And the alternative thought, well, the kids were hungry and quite tired from school. And the alternative emotion, understanding and compassion. Lastly, I'd like to end with this. I know it's a real big run through, but this is something that I often use. Now, I've photoshopped the face on this. This is an Orientalist depiction of the Prophet Abraham, Nabi Ibrahim, when he was put in a fire as a test of his belief in Allah. The Babylonians put him in a fire and set fire to him. And they said to him in this fire, we're going to set fire to you. And if Allah is there, nothing will happen to you. If Allah isn't there, well, you're going to burn to death. And this is a depiction of him in the garden surrounding the fire. Now, we're all surrounded by fires in our daily life. We're surrounded by fires every day. And the key question is, can we be like Nabi Ibrahim, resilient, strong, with grit and determination, and deal with those situations in positive ways rather than negatively? Thank you.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه